This clip is all about using the simple interest formula in order to learn how quickly some interest is growing. In other words, we're going to find the rate of growth for interest. Now, sometimes having your interest grow is a fantastic thing. For example, if you have money in a savings account, you want interest to grow at a quick rate. However, sometimes we're not so lucky. For example, if we have a credit card bill, we're also charged interest if we don't pay it off. Let's have a look at a problem just like that involving a credit card. Alex has a credit card bill of $500. After 60 days, if left unpaid, the interest will be $20. What annual interest rate does the credit card company charge? In this question, we're being asked to solve for the annual interest rate, which is another term for the R variable in our simple interest formula. Let's have a look at that formula. If you recall, the formula looks something like this. We had I for interest, which is a dollar amount, and it's equal to the principal, or P, and that's the amount of money we start off with before it begins to grow. R is the rate of growth, usually expressed as a percent, and then T, the amount of time that we're talking about in the problem. We know we're going to solve for R in this question, so we need to find values for I, P, and T. Let's go to step 1 where we'll list our givens. The first number I see in this problem is the bill has $500 on it, and that's before it begins to grow, so that will be our principal. So P is going to be equal to $500. The next number I see is 60 days, and days is a clue that we're talking about time. So T will be 60 days. Now, this needs to be converted to years, and we'll do that a little bit later. And finally, the interest will be $20, and that's our I value. So the interest is $20. Now that we've got our givens, we can go ahead and in step 2, we're going to convert time into years. To convert a given days into something that's years, all we really need to do is divide it by the number of days there are in a year, which is 365. So 60 divided by 365 is, I'll bring in the calculator for this, 60 divided by 365 is equal to 0.164. I'll stop there. Actually, I'll just stop at 0.16. That should be accurate enough for our needs. So 60 days represents 0.16 of a year. Now I can move on to step 3. Here I'll use the simple interest formula and plug in my values for I, P, and T. So my I was given in step 1 as 20. The principal was 500. R I don't know, that's what I'm solving for. And the T we converted right here to 0.16. Since these three numbers are all multiplying each other, I can simplify this a little bit by multiplying 500 and 0.16. That's what I'll do now. 500 times 0.16 is equal to 80. So I multiply these two numbers together, and I'll put them at the front of the R next. So I have 20 equals 80 R. Now I need to isolate for R. So 80 is multiplying R, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So let's divide both sides by 80. And what this does is it creates a 1 in front of the R, because any number divided by itself is a 1. So they're going to be gone. 20 divided by 80 is 1 over 4, or in decimal, 0.25. And if you need to use your calculator for that step, go ahead. And 80 over 80 is now gone, so I'm left with R. And that's close to my final answer. However, what I'd like to do is First, I want to flip this so my r is on the other side, just for readability's sake, and you're allowed to do that. And last, rates are usually expressed as a percent, so I need to actually convert this decimal into a percent. Converting a decimal to percent just means I'm sliding the point 2 places to the right and then adding a percent symbol. So finally it's going to look something like this. My rate is 25%. And if you need help converting from decimal to percent, check out an earlier mini clip called Converting Decimals to Percent, and it'll help you. And that's my final answer. Turns out this credit card company charges a rate of 25% per year. And finally, I added a concluding statement that reads like this. The credit card company charges an annual interest rate of 25%. And now let's get you to practice a problem. Here's your problem I'll present, and then you can try the solution on your own on paper, and I'll post the solution down here when you're ready. Eric invested $10,000 for 90 days. He earned $150 in interest. What is the annual rate of interest for his investment? Okay, try that one. And here's your solution. The rate of interest is 6%, and we found that by first listing our givens, P, T, and I. Then we converted 90 days into years. And finally, we plugged in our values for I, P, and T, and then solved for R to get 6%.